Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please give your confirmations on the chat box, please. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for joining. I'm very happy to see you all again. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. So I welcome you all to this first session on full stack web development course using Django framework. Okay. So what's our agenda for today? I'll have a quick introduction about myself. Okay. And then there are some participants who wants to have their introduction. So we'll have a interaction with some of the participants. Obviously, we cannot have with all the participants. We'll have interaction of some of the participants, and then we'll get into understanding about this course. What is this course? What is the target audience? What is the benefits you get it after completing this particular course? So what are the prerequisites for this particular course? What is the duration and all those stuff? Okay. And then I want to spend some time understanding this component called UI technologies. We'll have some understanding about JavaScript and understanding a component called Backend Component. So this is all about this particular session. Okay. So let me start with our today's agenda. So my name is Sunil. I'm based out of Hyderabad. I have total 10 years of experience in the IT industry. I have started my career with Oracle applications, and I have shifted to cloud platform, and I am involved in the DevOps projects, as well as I'm involved in web development, building custom applications, which can be integrated with Oracle domains and all those stuff. So I have an exposure. This is my technical skill set, and I have been close to 6 years of experience in the online training industry. Okay, so this is about a quick introduction about I myself. Participants who wants to have a talk, please raise your hand. Who wants to have a talk? Who wants to discuss about this particular course? Please raise your hand. Yes, starting with Naveen. How are you doing, Naveen? 1 minute. Naveen, I'm not sure. Okay, yes. Can you hear me? You are now allowed to unmute and talk.
Yeah, hi Sunil, good evening.
Good evening, Naveen. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice to talk to you.
You're
from Python batch, right?
Yeah, Python basics. So,
thank you.
Yeah. So my question is this content I didn't understand much. Yeah, that's why I asked is this extension for advanced Python?
Correct. You have asked me in the chat box. Yes, you are right. This is the extension of Python, what we have learned. Okay. So what we have learned is just writing the Python code. Okay. But if you want to develop web application, I mean, okay. For example, you want to build a small ticket booking application, or application like Book My Show, or a flight booking application, or a web application like Facebook. So this kind of applications, any application, if you want to build it, okay, not just Python, you need to have a framework. Okay. So with just by using Python code, it is very, very difficult to develop web application. You need to have a framework. So this is an extension of Python, what we have learned. So we will be using this framework called Django framework. And in this particular framework, we'll be writing the Python code and we'll develop meaningful web applications. Okay. Okay. So you are called as a full stack web developer after completing this particular course. You can aim for that.
Okay. But I came as infrastructure background. So it will be useful for the automation using Python.
No, this particular framework is not used for automation. Okay. This is used for building web applications. Okay. Not automating, not with respect to automation, with respect to current domain. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, Naveen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Gangadhar. How are you doing? You are now allowed to unmute and talk.
Hi Sunil. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am very good, very good.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to hear you.
Yeah. I have attended your AW class previously. Yes. long back, and I have attended your Python.
Recently.
Interested in AWS because previous I have watched some videos. I didn't understand. They started with VPC and all, but you started EC2. Then I
Correct.
can understand. How we can use the AWS. I saw that it is very difficult to me to learn the AWS. After attending your sessions, it's very easy to me to attend. I have completed a cloud certification.
Certificate. Congratulations. Congratulations.
This year I am ready to already started a developer, AWS developer.
Your voice is not clear.
Am I audible?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Please repeat.
Yeah, this year I started to learn AWS developer certificate to complete
DevOps.
the certification. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All the best. Keep learning.
And I have 10 years of Java experience.
Oh, so it will be very easy for you, Gangadhar, especially if you're aiming for the full stack web development. As you know, comparatively, you have recently completed Python, right?
Right.
So how is Python when compared to Java?
Easy. They have a lot of methods
Libraries.
introduced and all these things, libraries and all these things.
Correct.
All same, similar. I feel very easy with Python.
No, if you compare with Struts framework also, the Django framework is much more easy. Okay. So you will enjoy. It will be like a cakewalk for you.
The query is like the learning of this full stack development, web development. It will useful any AWS like Lambda, AWS Lambda, maybe somewhere else it will useful, right?
Maybe 10% it is useful. Okay. So don't learn this because it is useful in your current AWS domain. Okay. If you want to have, as you're from programmer experience, if you want to have Python experience also, how exactly approach of building web application using Python, then it will add value.
So some people are expecting not only Java, with the Java, Python, and the development.
Correct.
Profiles I am seeing in the online, so the expectation like this. That's why I am attending.
Correct. There's nothing harm in learning, Gangadhar, isn't it? You can revise at any given point of time, isn't it? Okay. Yes, you are right.
Yeah.
Nowadays, people are expected to be multi-talented, multi-skilled, so that you can at least map it to multiple projects, if not one other project, Gangadhar. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gangadhar. Okay. Please fix your mic settings. We are unable to hear you properly.
Sure.
Good morning, Idris.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, can you remember me? I'm back again.
Yeah, I know.
I really want to thank you very much. I've attended your Python program. I've completed your DevOps program. I've had a lot of opportunity trying to apply for jobs online. I'm from Nigeria. Actually, even the last job opportunity you posted, I applied, still waiting for response.
Okay. Good. All the best. Keep learning.
Yes,
especially in US market, people are expected to be multi-skilled profiles. Agree?
Yes, I realize that if one is multi-skilled, there will be a lot of opportunity. So I want to know, because I have an interview this afternoon, quite all right, but it has to do with Python trainer. I'm not sure whether what we have learned on the Python will suffice me to be able to face the interview. The interview is coming off just in 2 hours' time. So I don't know whether I still need another.
Please repeat your question. I cannot hear you again.
Yes, I said what you have learned.
My name.
What we learn in our Python program, is it sufficient for me? Because I have an interview this afternoon on Python trainer. I'm not sure whether the task that is going to be given to me.
What we have learned is basics of Python, Idris.
Okay.
But we have completed only basics of Python. Okay. If you want to project a full complete Python developer, then you need to have this full stack web development skills also. Okay. So
will this training suffice enough to have a professional?
This training is enough to project yourself as a Python full stack developer. Okay, there are a lot of open opportunities for Python full stack developer, especially in US market.
Okay.
Okay.
Then I want to know if there's any provision from the institute regarding job placement as well, aside the one you are doing for us, so that one can have practical experience in the field.
Regarding job placements, please follow our Telegram group. Okay. You will get the information there. Okay. Yeah.
What does this course has to do with web design? Do they have anything to do with web design using WordPress?
No. It is nowhere related to web designing or something, website development. This is application development. This is completely different. Okay.
Okay.
You'll understand it soon.
Okay. I hope I'm able to do this one as well. I want to see the introduction. If it's my lecturer, Sunil, I think I will enjoy it more. So I have to just want to see the introduction, see what is going on here, whether I can still continue with this one.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Welcome.
Mahesh, good evening.
Yeah, hi Sunil. Sunil, do we need any prerequisite knowledge to attend this training? For example, like HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, jQuery. Okay.
The only prerequisite that is required is basics of Python.
Basics of Python.
That's
okay.
It. If you are zero in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, that's not a problem, because I'll be discussing about UI part, UI technologies. At that particular part, we start with HTML, Mahesh, because every full stack web development should be comfortable with UI technologies like HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, because it generates the CSS. There are a lot of libraries to be used. So we spend sufficient time making ourselves comfortable with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and all those stuff. Okay. So you don't need to, even though you're zero in this HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or Bootstrap, you don't need to worry. The only thing what is required is the basics of Python.
Basics of Python. Okay. Yeah.
So we'll spend some time this HTML, CSS, JavaScript part, and then we move on to using the framework.
Django framework. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
I hope you're familiar with the Python, what we have learned today.
Yeah. I have attended your training previously.
Okay. That's the only prerequisite. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So my dear participants, the only prerequisite for this particular course, anyways, I will be discussing that, but anyways, we have questions arising. The only prerequisite for this particular course is basics of Python. If you are directly getting into this, if this is your day one, and if you do not know basics of Python, I strongly recommend to, I recently completed one Python batch. I strongly recommend to buy those videos and catch up and buy those videos, spend some time learning those videos, and then parallelly learn this so that you can save time. Thank you. Manoj Singh, good evening. How are you doing? Your location, please.
Hi, good evening. So basically, I am from the New Jersey location, right? And I am having the 12 plus years working experience in software industry as a developer. So
which
basically,
which technology?
Technology is Microsoft technology, web technology like C#, ASP.NET, VB.NET, SQL Server, MySQL, FBC. So these are the technologies.
So your complete exposure is in Microsoft domain.
Sorry, what is that?
Your complete exposure is in Microsoft domain.
Yeah, Microsoft in AWS as well. We are consuming some services. I have done the certification in AWS as well. Wow. And basically for the pipeline, etc., we are using a little much Python as well for writing the pipeline, CI/CD pipelines. But I was not the part of your basic Python class, right? So recently I have just joined. So is it recommended for me this batch, or
do you know basics of Python?
A basic Python I know. That means I not know the complete one, but yeah, we are using Python for the CI/CD pipeline.
That's more than enough. You know how to call functions, how to define functions, how to do modules and all those stuff, right? So that's more than enough. Okay, so you can get into this particular course. Okay, Manoj, by the way, who recommended this course? Did anybody refer?
No, no one ever. Just I was searching because I needed it because in the market, right? I want to be a full stack developer. To switch the job. Yeah, because in the US it is in very demand, the full stack developer and Python, etc. So that's why I was looking for upgrade my skill itself. There were no other agents. So just I found it by the ratings. You guys are doing very well in Hyderabad.
Thank you, Manoj. So please experience the session. I'm sure you will enjoy it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Once you're done with your discussion, please drop your hand. Makaran Sable. Good evening, Makaran. You are
Hi,
now.
hello.
Yes, good evening.
Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, Sunil. Thanks for getting me a chance to talk on this platform.
I'm equally happy.
So, yeah, actually, I'm new in the development. Yeah, but background is Bachelor of Information Technology, and currently I'm having the 8 years of experience
in which
working
domain?
on Linux. Linux system admin. Yeah.
Okay.
And currently I'm working with Greylog as a support engineer and remote consultant.
Wow. Okay.
From the Germany, actually.
Your current location is Germany?
Yes.
Okay.
And I recently, means your Python batch, yesterday was the last day. So yeah I attended lots of sessions, but not all. So that's the reason I have already buy your libraries for that particular Python course.
Okay, good.
So Python, I know about it. There are lots of things which is important for development also. And yeah, I am planning to
try for change your track from
Linux admin or support systems to the development.
Okay. If you're planning to switch your track to development, as you know, the one of the leading technology is Python, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
As of now, it has even surpassed Java. Okay, so many applications are built using Python. The preferred technology now is Python for building web application. Okay. Yeah. So it's always good to pick up the latest and the best in the market, is it? And it is easy. That's the most important. Okay. So I'm sure you will enjoy the training and it will help you in your career.
Yes, that's true. Actually, I'm planning to do the same. Thanks.
Thank you,
Sunil.
Thank you. Good evening, Jagadish. Will be little fast. Jagadish, good evening.
Good evening, Sunil. Hope you are doing good.
I'm doing good. Thank you. How about you?
I'm good, Sunil. Sunil, I have been doing some mainframes to AWS migration. As a part of that, I have attended your Python basic training, not fully, but whenever I get a chance, because of meetings, I couldn't attend full. But I am doing that and going through that. So how it will be useful, this one? This seems to be more like a UI framework, but at the same time, you have mentioned advanced Python. So is this will be helpful anything for the cloud technologies, AWS and Azure, and how it will be more some of the things?
This training will not help for AWS or cloud professionals. No, this training will not help AWS architects or cloud professionals who are working in cloud platform. This training helps for resources who want to get into programming side. Okay, if you want to develop web applications, if you want to try for a full stack, nowadays everybody is asking for, if you search in the job market, every developer is expected to have full stack knowledge. Full stack knowledge is nothing but the front-end technology, the backend technology, as well as how exactly backend will communicate to database. So this kind of multi-level skill sets is expected in the current job market. So Jagadish, if you want to get into development role, if you want to be a programmer, if you want to handle a team of developers with respect to application development, then this is the right course for you. If you want to stick to AWS cloud or Azure cloud, so if you want to explore in your infrastructure domain or cloud platform level, then please don't come into this side. Please better go with the DevOps role. That will be much more advantage, because combination of AWS and DevOps or Azure and DevOps, that's doing good in the market. So if you are aiming for programming, then this is the right course.
Okay, Sunil. Yep. Thanks for the clarification.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anuradha. Good evening. We cannot hear you, Anuradha. Please check your mic settings. We cannot hear you. Good evening. How are you, Solomon? Good morning for you.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Oh,
welcome back.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I joined this course because I was recently promoted to platform engineer, and most of it involves development. So, and I have less experience on development. So
you want to make yourself more comfortable in the development track.
Right. It helps with understanding the background on infrastructure building and stuff like that. So
okay, good. You're in the right track, Solomon. So have you learned Python from me before?
yes, I did Python, and I've been using it with also developing. Doing API calls.
Wow, very good. So you started writing Python code or understanding the Python code.
Absolutely.
So is the training help you?
Yeah, it helps a lot with my DevOps because I was the lead DevOps engineer for the Lockheed Martin. Yeah, so here in the US, and then it kind of helped me a lot for a lot of stuff that I had to do with the automation, as far as like using Ansible and Terraform and stuff.
Are you part of my DevOps course also, Solomon?
Yeah, I did everything. Like, you were the one that taught me DevOps and everything. So
thank you.
So from day one, I've been here.
Thank you, Solomon. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
so I'm sure you will equally enjoy this course also, like other courses. This training, this particular full stack development course is purely for the developers who want to build applications, meaningful, very interesting applications using this particular Python and Django framework. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it came at the right time. I just accepted that position as a platform engineer. So
no looking back. Have a good track ahead. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Thank you. One more final call before getting started, this time with Mr. Raghavendra.
Yeah, hi Sunil. I have took your course Python and DevOps, and took a course of Anil Anurullah also on AWS. So, yeah, so I have a questions.
Yes.
Say I'm interested in development, means I have personal development. I'll do some development for my personal work actually. So this full stack web, as name says, is only for web, or in Python any application we can develop?
Technically, you can develop any application, not only web application, it can be standalone product also. You can build, okay?
Okay.
Yes, it is useful for both. Okay. But nowadays, almost all the applications are web applications. Am I right, Raghavendra? Okay.
Yes, correct.
So, but you can also build standalone applications.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, perfect. So let's we had an introduction about the participants. Let's understand this course in detail. Okay, more in detail. The title of this course, my dear participants, it's a full stack web development using Python programming and Django framework. Now, D is silent. I have seen many participants calling as Django. That's not the right way of pronunciation. We have to say it as Django. We have to say it as Django. The D is silent. So we have to pronounce it as Django. So Django is a framework. Django is a framework. So don't worry about what is Django, what is framework. Okay. So the course title is full stack web development using Python code and Django framework. Okay. If you want to learn this course, the prerequisite basic is basics of Python. You have to be comfortable understanding the Python code and writing the Python code. We will never discuss about the basics of Python in this particular course. We already have spent some time learning Python, so that's enough for this particular course to get started. If, my dear participants, if any of you do not know Python, if you're completely zero in Python, I strongly recommend to start learning Python from day one, from any of the sources available on the web, or you can also learn Python from our pre-recorded self-paced videos also. You can buy it and learn, but the only prerequisite is basics of Python is required. Okay. Now, once you are skilled with full stack web development, once you are called as a full stack developer, you can build web applications. You can build web applications. To develop web application, you have to know basic Python. We will anyways be learning Django framework. Along with Python and Django framework, we all should be comfortable with UI technologies also. So total 3 skill sets are required if you want to get into programming offered Python. If you're trying for Python jobs, if you look at for Python jobs, if you look at the job portals, openings for Python, most of the opportunities are for full stack web development. You should be strong in Python coding, and you should be good in Django framework, and you have to be good in UI technologies also. When you are skilled with these 3 sets, then your resume is definitely will be shortlisted for interview. So to be a full stack developer, after this course, you can be a full stack developer. To be a full stack developer, what are the skills required? To be a full stack developer, these are the 3 skills which are required. One is Python. The second skills what is required is UI technologies. The third skill that is required is Django framework. Once you are skilled with these 3 technologies, then you are called as a full stack developer. Python, we already have learned it. So this particular course will focus on UI technologies and we'll focus on Django framework. As we have completed Python, as Python is a prerequisite, we will not discuss Python in this particular course. We start learning UI technologies. And then we also learn Django framework. In this Django framework, we'll be writing the Python code and build meaningful web applications. So if you are skilled in these 3 technologies, then you are called as a full stack developer. I hope I'm very clear. When are you called as a full stack developer? You should know Python coding. You should know UI technologies. You should know Django framework. If you're strong in these 3 areas, then you are called as a full stack developer. And there are a lot of job opportunities in full stack developers. Everybody wants to recruit full stack developers. Everyone. Frankly speaking, even freshers are expected to be a full stack developers. Once they onboard into the organization, they expect them to be full stack developers. That means you should be involved in complete web application development end to end. You cannot say, I can write Python code, but I'm not strong in Django framework. No, it's useless. You have to be good in using Django framework also. Using Django framework, you can build meaningful applications very easily. Framework will generate the code. What is the use of this framework? Framework helps in generating the code. You don't need to write the code right from line 1. This kind of Django framework helps in generating the code. And you have to understand the code, modify the code as per the requirements. So when you say that I'm strong in Python coding, but I'm not comfortable in Django framework, so you have to be rightly skilled so that you can capture the market. Okay, so Django framework, it is used for building applications. So Python, we already have learned how can we write the Python code. Let's learn more about UI technologies. So you may have a question, Sunil. What is UI technologies? UI stands for user interface, as most of us can easily guess. UI stands for user interface. For example, Look at this site. This is a web application. My dear participant, this is a web application. These kind of meaningful web applications you can develop using Python and Django framework. These kind of meaningful applications you can develop by using Python and Django framework. Now, let's understand what is UI. UI stands for user interface. User interface is what user is experiencing. So this is all user interface. Okay. So whatever the user is experiencing, user is expected to select the from location and to location, and then when he click on search file, how exactly the interface looks like. You have to be good in UI design. You have to be good in managing UI. Even this skill sets are required. So that is the reason we'll spend sufficient time understanding the UI part also. Okay. Next. What can you do after this particular course? After learning this particular skill sets like UI technologies and Django framework, you can also develop a web application. Once you're skilled in using Django framework, once you're skilled in building the user interface, you can definitely develop web applications. You can be a web developer, full stack web developer. You can definitely build web applications. We'll have a project also. The web application development project also will be covering along with this particular course. You may have a question, what is web application? Sunil, you said that you may have a question, Sunil, using Python, using Django, using UI technologies, we can develop web applications. Okay, so Sunil, can you give me some example of what is a web application? One example of web application is this particular site called spicejet.com, where it is a ticket booking application. If you search for popular web applications built using Python, obviously when it is Python, it comes together with, see, Dropbox, Spotify, Uber, Instagram, Pinterest. All these applications are built using Python and Django framework, my dear friends. These are web applications. Spotify, Netflix, what else you want? All latest applications are built using Python. When it is Python, it's a combination of Python and Django framework. Got it? So these are examples. Now you have, I hope any service which you are experiencing over the web, ticket booking service, OTT platform service, cab booking service, music on demand, content on demand, Instagram, social networking sites, all these are nothing but web applications. What is the difference between a website and web application? A website is a normal collection of web pages, home page, services page, contact us page, registration page. This combination of 7 to 8 site web pages are nothing but website. Web application is something big, like Facebook, like Netflix, like Spotify, like Uber. These are web applications. Zomato. So these are web applications. Okay, so you can definitely be part of a web application development after this particular course. So I hope you have understood the term called what is web application. Okay, so you know the main, when can you be a web application developer, full stack web application developer? Okay, only when you're skilled in three technologies. One is Python, the other one is UI technologies, because UI is very, very important. You cannot neglect this. UI is very, very important, as well as Django framework. Once you are skilled with these layers, then you are called as a full stack web developer. So we have understood what does UI? UI stands for user interface. Okay. Now coming to this particular course, I'll be providing the day-to-day material which I'll be using for examples. What are the code which I'll be using in this particular examples to demonstrate my training? You will be getting the material. And as you already know, I hope you all, some of you already know, every session is recorded. Even today's session is also recorded. Once the session gets completed, probably within 1 hour, the session gets uploaded in our website logiclabstack.com, where you can access the day-to-day recording. You will also get a course completion certificate from our training institute upon completing of this particular course. And the course fees is 5,900 as per Indian rupees. Okay, examples of web applications are nothing but SpiceJet, ticket booking application, Facebook, social media application. So these kind of web applications. Next, these are called as web applications. Next. One important terminology, very important terminology, we all should be comfortable with. To develop web application, very, very important, very, very, very important. I have seen many participants getting confused with respect to using this terminology. To develop web application, we need a front-end component and a back-end component. Very, very important, my dear friends. If you want to develop any web application, my dear participants, if you want to develop any web application, or in fact, any application, when I say application, it means a web application. If you want to develop any application, we have to have front-end component and back-end component. Okay? Front-end is what we can experience. This is our front-end components. So this particular button, this particular user interface, this is a field which has some drop-down list box, which is okay. So which is having some radio buttons and some offers. These are all front-end component. You have to be very comfortable building front-end, which is very, very meaningful. The login page, sign-up page. So this is all front-end part. Okay. UI technologies are required for developing front-end component. To develop this kind of front-end part of application, front-end part is what you can see. Front-end part is nothing but this menu, this drop-down list, the user interface, what action to be happened when a button is pressed. Okay, you get a message destination city cannot be empty. So this kind of front-end development can be, the front-end component can be developed by using UI technologies. UI technologies is nothing but combination of HTML. What is UI? UI technologies is nothing but combination of HTML, CSS, cascading style sheet, JavaScript, Bootstrap, jQuery. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 combined together is called as UI technologies. We will be using HTML. Finally, everything should generate a HTML page. If you can see, this particular application is also HTML application. If I show you, right click on this, view page source, what page it is? Can you see, my dear participants? This is a HTML page. Can you see? These are HTML tags. This is HTML page. It also uses CSS. I'm sure. Can you see here? CSS. Can you see here? Style.min.css. It also uses cascading style sheet. So these are components which are used for developing front-end pages. So you have to be good in HTML. We will spend some time learning HTML. We will spend some time learning cascading style sheet. We will be comfortable writing JavaScript. We'll be learning we'll understand what is Bootstrap, when should we use jQuery. Every full stack developer should be comfortable with these components. HTML is nothing but HTML pages. CSS stands for cascading style sheet, used to style the layout of web pages, for example, to alter the font, color, size, spacing of your content, split it into multiple columns. This is, yeah, splitting it into multiple columns, isn't it? You can see column 1, column 2, column 3, isn't it? So like this, all this happens using, so you can, this is also, my dear friends, this is column 1, column 2, column 3. So all this happens using cascading style sheets. Okay, split it into multiple columns, add animations and other decoratives. It's something like making the HTML page more beautiful. By default, HTML page is not beautiful. You can make it more beautiful by using CSS, cascading style sheet. Your application becomes very, very beautiful. So that's the job done by the CSS. We'll be learning about CSS. Bootstrap provides predefined styles which makes the developer work very easy. Okay, the predefined styles, if you want to implement predefined styles, then we'll be using Bootstrap. Okay, so that's the work done by Bootstrap. So HTML help you to get the HTML page. CSS will help you to make the page more beautiful. Bootstrap will have predefined styles. You can implement those predefined styles so that you can less dependent on CSS, because Bootstrap can generate the styles and use those styles also. It makes more comfortable. Your web developer becomes more comfortable using Bootstrap. Next, what is JavaScript? JavaScript will add functionality to HTML components. JavaScript will add functionality to HTML components. When a button is pressed, what action is? See, look at this. To create, try to understand. To create a button is a HTML component. We need HTML. But if you observe, buttons are very beautiful. Can you say book now button is very beautiful? Agree? Isn't it? Search flight button is very beautiful. The moment I hover the mouse, see the shades are becoming different. Okay, COVID information. This is also a button. So this is also a button. So buttons are beautiful. So if you want to have this kind of beauty added, then we have to use CSS. That's the importance of CSS. When button is clicked, what action needs to be performed? What action needs to be performed? That is done by using JavaScript. JavaScript will add functionality. JavaScript will add functionality. So what action needs to be done when a button is pressed? Okay. What action needs to be performed when a particular city is selected? What action needs to be performed when a destination city is selected? What happens when a button is pressed? So this kind of action, if you want to perform it, yes, you have to use JavaScript. I hope you are understanding the importance of each and every component. JavaScript is also required for providing dynamic response. For example, the moment I open a website, it should identify my current location, and from location automatically it should show my current location as Hyderabad. How is it possible? How is it possible when you are booking a cab in Uber or Ola? Pickup location is automatically tracked. You're not selecting the pickup location. It's automatically tracked. How is it happening? So this kind of action, you can do it by using, this is dynamic. So this kind of dynamic responses, you can do it by using JavaScript. Okay. Bootstrap and jQuery will help you to provide libraries. Bootstrap and jQuery will help you to provide libraries for developing web applications more easily and faster. Big web applications need a lot of code. Okay, you don't need to write the code. Using Bootstrap and jQuery, there are a lot of libraries. Please use the libraries which are available in Bootstrap and jQuery so that you can build applications very easily and fastly. I hope I'm very clear in explaining the importance of UI part. User interface. I hope I'm very clear in explaining the UI component. User interface. User interface is all about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, jQuery. To have a button, we use HTML. To make the button beautiful, we use CSS. When a button is pressed, what needs to be happened? We write it in the JavaScript. And Bootstrap, jQuery are a lot of libraries available, which makes your application development very, very easy. Am I clear, my dear participants? If yes, please respond in the chat box. Am I clear in explaining what is UI, user interface, and what are the components involved in UI? And what is the importance of each and every component? HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, jQuery. Anyways, we'll learn in detail each and every. We'll learn in detail what is HTML. We create CSS cascading style sheet. We use Bootstrap. We write JavaScript. We write jQuery. That will be much more clear. This is just an introduction. So I hope you understood the importance of UI. Nowadays, important application user interface is very, very important for success of that particular application. So every developer is expected to have a strong knowledge in UI. You have a strong should be having a strong grip in the UI part, user interface. Perfect. Okay, let's move on. So this is the front-end component. UI is all about building front-end. Now let's learn about back-end component. As I told before, as I mentioned before, if you want to develop a web application, we need front-end component and back-end component. Front-end component is nothing but UI technology. So you have an understanding. Okay, so front-end is all about what we experience, what the user interface experience. So for that, we need HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, jQuery. Okay, so we got it. So what is front-end? We are aware of it now. Let's learn what is back-end component. Here creates a confusion. I hope most of us heard this kind of understanding. I hope definitely most of you have heard this kind of discussion. Listen to this. We are building a product. Front end is Java, back end is Oracle. We are building a product. Front end is Java, back end is Oracle. I'm sure you have heard about this. If yes, please type yes in the chat box. We are building an application. Front end is Microsoft.NET and back end is SQL Server. Am I right? Have you heard this kind of understanding? We are building Java. You are using Java for developing a front end part, and we are using Oracle as database. Java and Oracle, very popular combination. Yes. So you may have heard this kind of terminology. So maybe we have fixed in mind that backend is nothing but Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL. These are all backend components. That's right. I don't say that kind of terminology is wrong. But coming to this particular full stack domain, in this full stack, Oracle is not called as backend. Oracle is called as database layer. Okay. Okay. Now let's learn about what is backend. Backend is different. Backend is not Oracle here. In this particular context of full stack development, Oracle is not backend. SQL Server is not backend. MySQL is not backend. That's different. This backend is different. Let's learn what is backend. Look at this. Backend component is responsible for generating the content that should be shown to the end user. Backend component is responsible for generating the content that should be shown to the end user. Example, I am using a ticket booking application. I am selecting from city and to city. From Hyderabad to Delhi. When I click on search flights, I should get some content, right? Flight number 1, something like Indigo, starting at so-and-so date. And this is the price. Flight number 2, some other service and the date, when it is date and time, and the price. You should get a table which has some meaningful content as per the search engine user has done it. So, which component is responsible for generating this kind of content? Which component is responsible for generating the content? In my OTT platform, I select language. The moment I select language, it should get all the content related to that particular language. Agree? If I select something like kids, it should show me content related to children. If I select drama, it should give me some content related to drama. So what content is to be displayed, what information should be generated and given it to your client, given it to the end user. That component which is responsible for generating the content and showing it to the end user is the backend component. That content, that the backend component is responsible for generating the content, and that content will be displayed in the front-end component, that is displayed in the form of HTML page, like a table. UI is just shown, but the content generation should be done by the backend component. Example, I want to see list of all the trains from Hyderabad to Delhi. The moment I select from Hyderabad to Delhi, then the moment I click on search button, I should get train number 1, so-and-so express, and departing on so-and-so train number. So this is the content. So backend component is responsible for generating the data. Front-end component is only for displaying the data. The responsibility on the front-end component is only for showing the data. It can only show, it cannot generate. HTML can show HTML content. It cannot generate the content. There should be some engine behind it. You have behind the UI part, which will generate the content and show it to the user. Cascading style sheet will make the content more beautiful, but it cannot generate the content. JavaScript can perform an action. What happens when a button is pressed? But there should be some component behind the UI part, which will help in generating the content and giving it to the web application. So that component is called as backend component. Backend component is like a feeding to the front-end component. The responsibility of the backend component is to provide data to the front-end component, so the front-end component can happily showcase that particular data to the users. The backend component is responsible for generating the data for an application. Front-end is just only the showcase. But behind the front-end, there should be some engine which will generate the data and show it to the front end more meaningfully. That is called as a backend component. That's called a backend component. And that functionality, accepting the from city, your backend component is responsible for accepting from city. The moment I select Hyderabad, look at this. From Hyderabad to Delhi on 22nd. Click on search flight. Selected from city, to city, departure date, 1 adult. When I click on search flight, there should be a backend component which will read the user input. Okay, user has selected from city Hyderabad and to city Delhi. So your Python code will accept the value from the front end. Your Python code should read this value, should read the date. There should be some action that should happen, right? There should be one program which will accept the value. This is only front end, right? So the moment I click on search flight, the backend component should read the values what I have entered, and it should show me the content. That job is done by the backend component. And to develop those kind of backend component, to be more clear in understanding how backend works, it is again divided into 3 parts. The language, you have to use one language which will read the user input. You have to depend on framework which will generate the content. And you should communicate database, because the complete flights information and the complete information is available in the database layer. No doubt the information is available in the database. That your backend component should communicate to database, should read the data and show it to the front-end component. So the backend component is in active communication to the front-end as well as database. Got it? So that's the backend component. So backend component is a combination of language. In our context, the language is Python. In our context, the backend component language is Python. Framework, we all know we'll be using Django framework, and you can use Oracle database or you can use MySQL database to store some sample data and how exactly that your Python will communicate to database and how that database, how this data is shown to the user more meaningfully. All this should be done by the backend component. So 3 layers: front-end, backend, database. Coming to full stack context, backend is not Oracle, my dear participants, especially in full stack web development. Especially in full stack web development context, if anybody is talking about backend, don't think that they're talking about Oracle or SQL Server. No, that's a database layer. Backend is nothing but back of user interface. User interface is all about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, jQuery. The backend component is all about language, framework, and database. Okay, so you can develop this kind of backend component using Java language. You can also use Python. You can also use .NET. For Java, the combination of framework, what is used is structs and JSF. I hope some of you are from the Java background. If the language is Java, the framework they use is structs as JSF. If Python is a programming language, in our context, we'll be using combination of Python programming language and Django framework. Python can also be used with Flask and Pyramid, but the popular one is Django. We'll be using Django framework, and you can also store some information in Oracle or MongoDB or MySQL anyways, and you can communicate using Python. Will be communicating to Oracle database or MySQL database and show the information to the user. That's the 3D view of full stack web development. User interface, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, jQuery. The backend component. In our context, what is backend component? Combination of Python and Django framework. And you need, obviously, for storing data, you need to have database that is either will be using Oracle in our programming. Clear? I hope I'm very clear. I hope I'm very clear in explaining what is UI. My dear participants, I'm very clear in explaining UI. I hope I'm very clear in what is explaining JavaScript. JavaScript helps you to make a functionality when a button is pressed or when a radio button is selected, what should happen. And understanding the backend component. Backend component is the component which helps in generating the content. For that, you need to have Python, one language, one framework, and database. This combination of 3 components together is called as a backend component. Clear, my dear friends? I hope I'm very clear in explaining you how exactly the layers in full stack. And I hope you have a clear understanding how the web application. I hope you're very curious to experience. We'll be practically experiencing web applications. I hope you're very curious in understanding and building web applications. Any questions, please raise your hand. Yes, it is.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sunil. Thank you very much for this beautiful introduction. I do not have experience of web development before. I only know of web design. From this introduction, there's a clear-cut difference between web development and web design, as you have rightly mentioned.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I want to know, at the end of this course, one should be able to apply as both front-end and back-end web developer.
You are right.
Right?
You are right.
Oh,
you are right.
Okay,
that's why you are called as full stack. When are you called as full stack? Full stack is you have to be comfortable in UI development. You have to comfort in back-end development also.
Okay.
You should be involved in the UI part. You should be involved in the backend. You should be involved in Python programming, Java Django framework for generating the content. Okay. You have to be familiar with both. Yes, you are called as full stack.
At the end of this training, are there going to be kind of student projects?
We will discuss about project also. Okay. Don't worry. We'll build meaningful.
What was this program? You didn't mention about it. So call it, there's a program called React.
Okay.
Yes.
No, even React is there are a lot of applications which are useful for building applications. Okay, so React you can use it. That's also one you can develop web applications. Okay,
we are not using that at all in this program.
We are not using here. That's completely different.
Okay.
How are you, Sachin Gupta? Mujtaba.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well, Mujtaba. Your location?
Chicago, Illinois, USA.
I think we have discussed before. We had a talk before. Am I right?
On WhatsApp.
You are my Python participant. Am I right?
Yes, I did Python through your training.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. A quick question. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. Your question, please.
Yeah. So where does API development stay here?
API development is useful for integrating third-party applications. Sachin, sorry, Mujtaba. If you want to integrate, okay, for example, if you want to integrate payment gateway to your application, there comes the need for an API. Okay, API is for integration. Okay, that's completely different. Okay.
Okay, so it's neither front end nor back end.
Not back end. It's for integration component, which is used for integrating your application to third-party components. For example, you want to integrate your application to Spotify. You want to integrate your application should log in using Facebook. So this kind of integrations for that API development is used. Okay.
So that's API different. Development, yeah, API development is not part of this course.
You are right. That's not part of this course.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sunil, this is Sachin. How are you?
Hi, Sachin. I'm fine. How are you doing?
Yeah, me okay. Thank you for taking this initiative and start this training.
Welcome back.
So I'm I'm feeling very proud to be part of this forum. So definitely I'm really interested to go ahead on this. So one quick question, Sunil, as you already know that we are from administration background, so we need to learn this language framework separately, or only as on need basis we will be learning only.
I don't understand. If you are planning to switch your domain to, if you want to get into programming side, Sachin, if you want to get into web development side, if you want to become a developer, if you want to leave your existing domain and get into programming or get into web development, then this is the right course. Okay. If you want to stick to your existing cloud platform, or if you want to leverage your skill sets with respect to existing cloud platform, existing skills, let's say you want to get into DevOps and all those stuff, then this is not required. Okay. Got it? So you have to take the decision. Yeah. So which is suitable, who for this kind? This course is suitable for what kind of target audience? Who are already having some programming exposure, who are already know Java, they know Python, but they're not full stack. Okay. So nowadays everybody is asking for full stack skill sets. So, and if people interested in application, web application development, they don't want to get into administration part, they don't want to get into cloud administration, they want to get into programming side. Okay. That is the right course for those kind of target audience.
Yeah, I was more interested, as we talked about earlier as well.
But there's nothing
for advanced.
There's nothing harm
advanced
in learning.
Python.
There's nothing. No. I generally have named it as advanced Python course, but technically the title is full stack web development. On general,
yeah, that's one.
On general note, we are starting advanced Python. I said that advanced Python is nothing but full stack web development. My understanding is this is nothing but advanced Python, because we are just not limiting our skill sets with Python. We are learning on top of Python. We are learning the Django framework and UI part. So to make yourself called as full stack developer. So this is nothing but in general note, I have named it as advanced Python, but it is technically the right title is full stack web development using Django. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there's no harm to learn because I want advanced Python. Yeah,
because Python
I want
is easy.
The advanced Python. Yes.
You might
yeah,
know
I have
Python is
taken
easy. Okay. There's nothing harm in learning any technology. You may never know which technology will help you at what point of time, especially in the IT
Correct.
industry.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you, Sunil.
Yeah.
Hi, Sunil. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm here in Colorado, UX. So thanks for actually doing this. The struggle that I had as a DevOps and platform engineer was understanding the web development part. I mean, most of my colleagues came from a software development background, so they understood most of the things to do when it gets to a point, in the development of those applications and tools. I didn't understand it, so I just can't. I just thank you so much that this is coming at the right time.
After 2 months, you feel very comfortable working with your team. No doubt on that. Okay.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So my question is, so you have talked about UI, and the integration, but how does UX? Where does UX come into this?
User experience is not part of a programmer's role. Okay. It's part of a designer role. Okay. How do you improve your experience from the end user perspective? It's completely a different track. It's all about it does not come under part of functionality or programming part. It's completely a graphical part. Okay, to make your applications more intuitive and more comfortable. That's the experience in elevating the experience of end users. So that's the different path altogether. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. 1 minute. Anuradha, you have something to speak? Any question, Anuradha? What happened? You have raised and probably hand against me. Check your mic settings, Anuradha. We are not able to hear you. Okay. Perfect. I hope you have enjoyed this session.
Hello.
Yes, Anuradha.
Yeah, hi.
We can hear you. How are you doing? How is today's
session? Yeah. Hi, Sunil. Thank you for giving me the opportunity here. I stay in Germany here. I have a long gap. I passed out in 2002. After that, 3-4 years, I worked as in the hardware department.
Okay.
So,
is it in which company? Dell?
Not Dell, in Wipro Infotech and HL.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and now I shifted with my husband and my kids here in Germany. So I need to again
get back
move into the
IT
technology
industry.
Yeah, so I'm not understanding which I am the old batch of your Python.
Okay, you have completed my core Python. Okay.
Core Python, yeah.
You want to get into developer track, Anuradha?
I'm not understanding. I'm not that much of development side.
First,
and I
you
don't
have to
know.
take the decision, Anuradha. First, you have to take the decision whether you want to get into programmer or developer role. If you don't like programming or development, then you have to go for a cloud domain. That's my recommendation. Learn AWS. Learn Microsoft Azure, and then learn DevOps. That's a different track where you are not called as a programmer or a developer. So first you have to select your path. Do you want to get into programming or you want to get into cloud platform? These are both are doing good. If you want to get into programming, then you are in the right track. You have completed Python. Now you are starting full stack web development. You have to continue this track. If you don't like programming, if you don't want to develop web applications, you don't want to be part of development team, then go for cloud platform. Okay.
Yeah.
Analyze yourself. Analyze yourself. Both are good. Don't say which is better. Okay. Both are equally doing good because cloud industry is going, because all the clients are migrating to cloud. There are a lot of demand for cloud professionals and DevOps professionals.
Yeah.
The applications, almost all the applications are built using Python and Django framework. Okay.
Yeah.
So both are equally good. You have to take the decision.
Okay.
Okay. And then take that particular path.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what's your decision?
After your Python course, now I'm interested in the development side. So that's what I joined here, full stack web development.
You're comfortable in Python?
Yeah, I'm very much comfortable. I feel some confidence that I can also, after long gap, I can also work on the development.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, that's what I thought to go again, full stack web development.
Yeah. Okay. So if you want to get into programming or development, this is the right track for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So take decision. Think twice before taking the decision. Once the decision is taken, there should not be any regret. You have to proceed forward, because if you are skilled in any domain, you get the job. There's no doubt on that. Okay, Anuradha?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All the best.
Yeah. Thank you.
My dear participants, I hope you have enjoyed the session. See tomorrow where we'll get into the UI part. We'll start understanding the technical components of UI part, that is HTML, CSS. Stay tuned for interesting classes ahead. Have a good time. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.